In working with DPL, I now have access to a pretty broad universe of options, so I can be very specific in the recommendation I'm making for my clients.
In this episode of Advisor Revelations, hear how this DPL member is taking retirement planning to a whole new level with commission-free annuity solutions, and how his firm is implementing annuities in 401k plans.
Welcome to the Advisor Revelations podcast. I'm Leslie, a consultant here at DPL Financial Partners. On today's episode, we are going to dive into retirement income planning and how advisors can strategically use certain commission-free products efficiently. We will be going over some specific cases with our guest, the mayor of Income Town, Brian Montemurro, with 2S Capital Advisors. Also joining us from the firm is Vern Cushenberry, who's Chief Investment Officer. Brian and Vern, thanks for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thanks, Leslie.
Before we start our discussion, tell us a little bit more about yourself so our listeners can get familiar with you and 2S Advisors. Vern, I'll have you go first.
Like Leslie said, I function as the Chief Investment Officer and one of the founders here at 2S Advisors, and we're practitioners. We've been working for 20 years to create positive retirement plan outcomes for our clients, and we meet our clients in the wealth management world. We meet our clients in the retirement planning world. We manage about $2 billion in 401k assets. We're heavy into 403b assets. We are hyper-focused on positive retirement plan outcomes. To me, that looks a lot like what my grandfather experienced retiring from Phillips 66. He was a pipeline worker and put his time in, and I think he spent 40 years with them, and never a day in his working career did he think about reallocating from large cap growth to small cap value. He just knew when he retired, he was going to get a check in the mail. And that's how old defined benefit plans used to work. And that's the experience we try to recreate for the participants we work with. Easier said than done, because we're in a different landscape. We're in a 401k world. So we can do that. And we've spent 20 years creating the right package of financial wellness solutions and behavioral nudges and algorithms inside the plan and consultative coaching. And that's Brian, man. He does that really well. And I'm encouraged because we're at a place where we can recreate those outcomes. We can create the asset allocations that we need to power that experience, to power that paycheck for life experience. And with the Secure Act, we're now on the cusp of introducing annuities inside a plan that will guarantee that income stream into retirement. Exactly what we've been doing for our wealth management clients. With the help of DPL, we're now taking that into our market space with a fiduciary hat, and that's been a lot of fun for us. So much fun, in fact, that as we've figured it out through the years, we've now launched what we call a back office program for other advisors who want to tap into what we've built. And we take that to market underneath a different brand that we call Goal Path Solutions. So Goal Path Solutions now powers 27 other advisory firms across the country that have that same mindset, that are similarly hyper-focused on creating positive outcomes and maybe a little bit short-staffed or haven't reached scale yet. And as a collective group, we now come together to make sure we're getting the economies of scale and low costs and benefits of technology and so on and so forth for every participant that we touch. So that's what we do in a nutshell. Brian?
Tell you a little bit about myself first. I've been in financial services in some form or fashion since I was 17. So really my entire life has revolved around helping people with money. Certified financial planner, have a master's in business, a degree in finance, a minor in economics. For the last 16 years, I've helped individuals plan and prepare a secure retirement by focusing on income solutions, whether it's through the use of annuities or withdrawal strategies, or even today venturing out into more complicated income strategies, making use of LERPs and reverse mortgages. But the focus has been helping people have a dignified retirement that they can be proud of, and to make sure that their essential needs are covered.
Thanks for that insight, Brian and Vern. 2S partnered with DPL about a year ago when your team was actively searching for lower cost annuity options for your clients. And we've done a lot of work together, Brian, in switching clients into better products But another focus has been working with existing clients who may have never even considered using an annuity and may even have pensions or 401k accounts. Tell us about how you're working with this group and what strategies you're using.
Sure. So I've worked with clients in all phases of life with respect to retirement. And it depends on what sector of individuals you're working with, their reaction when you say the word annuity. Sometimes you get a person who recoils when you say annuity. At the same point in time, others they're interested in what you have to say. So when I think about what types of products, how I'm working with individuals, essentially proposing it as a way to develop guaranteed income strategies. In working with some folks, the thought of purchasing annuity gives them the freedom to spend the money that they've saved without worrying about it running out, giving us the ability to cover their essential expenses using an annuity to fund that. Now, the world of annuities has been complicated. Being that I've been in this world for 15 plus years now, I've come to understand an idea of how they work, how they function. Also have understood how other advisors sell them poorly and how to compete against those advisors who don't sell these the right way. But the products that I've typically used are, I like VAs with guaranteed minimum withdrawal benefits that are easy to understand, because it's easy for them to be complicated. So if you have a client that needs $10,000 in income, heck, a simple 5% for life guaranteed minimum withdrawal benefit on a VA will easily cover that need. Now, I find that when a person has this type of guaranteed income, they're really comfortable spending the money they've worked hard to save to enjoy their retirement.
Thanks for that, Brian. I totally agree. I think that when we're talking about spending down assets versus spending down paycheck, clients have different emotional responses to those two different frames of mind. And it's a lot easier to get them to spend that mailbox money than it is to get them to actually spend down their retirement accounts. So when we're thinking about people who potentially already have a pension plan, tell us, why would somebody with a pension plan even consider using an annuity? And I know you have a client example regarding that we've worked on. So would love it if you'd share a little bit about what took place in that situation.
Yeah, so that's an awesome question, and the answer the answer comes down to control. That's where it comes to, is who do you want to control your asset, whether it's a state pension, a private pension, what have you. Who do you want to be in control? I've worked with individuals for years and years who have money in a particular state pension that has been deemed to have a $9 billion actuarial deficit for over 10 years now. When posing a discussion with an individual of, you can have your own personal pension through the use of an annuity and protect yourself in case something were to happen to your state pension, that their eyes perk up and they get excited about having that discussion. At the same point in time, some other private pensions, an individual may not feel that pension is going to meet their needs. And heck, they may find that they need more income than the pension's able to provide. I was working with an individual who he found himself recently laid off unexpectedly with a firm that he was with for over 30 years, and having to put together a retirement income strategy in relatively short order, making use of his 401k, and then examining whether or not it made sense to take the lump sum from his pension or leave it there and draw the pension benefit. Through the use of some financial analysis tools, we were able to determine that he was able to have more money by taking by taking the lump sum from his pension, utilizing an annuity account, and delaying the income from that annuity for another 5 years. And in doing so, the income was going to be significantly more than what the pension provided. At the same point in time, giving him more control on how to use his asset.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Brian. And I would think that a lot of the advisors I work with who are in a similar situation, rolling over from pension plans, tell me the exact same thing, that it's about putting the asset into the hands of the client and focusing as well on that total benefit, that through the investment experience of the annuity solution, it may not just be a pension account. You may have some residual value to pass on to your beneficiaries. And that's been a really positive conversation for advisors to have with their clients as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about control. And for some folks, the pension's all they have. So this is an ability for them to maybe build a legacy they wouldn't necessarily have had before.
So, Vern, I'd like to switch over to you for a second and get your thoughts around the changes that we're going to see in 401k plans coming out of the Secure Act. As we know, we're going to start seeing various types of income-focused annuities and income expectations on client statements that potentially could cut off advisors' access to the rollover marketplace if clients are electing in-plan annuity solutions, and especially if advisors aren't proactively talking to them about secure income and how they plan to accomplish that with their clients' qualified assets post-retirement. So what do you see this change meaning for clients, and what do you think it means for advisors who are working with individual clients and targeting that rollover space?
It's the most exciting thing I work on a day-to-day basis, because I kind of alluded to it when you asked me about 2 West and what we were focused on, and Goal Path and what we were focused on. And our whole community is exactly that, focused on better outcomes. And so is the Secure Act. So I applaud our regulators for passing an act that will provide safe harbor for plan sponsors to put annuities inside of retirement plans. This is exactly what we need to create better outcomes. And I think it's going to be huge. Now, how that unfolds, how we go to market, how we get the annuity providers plugged in, how we synchronize that data with the record keepers, how we create some system to assess the merits and differences of various annuities across providers and across plans, that all has to be hammered out. And we're working with big providers and technology partners to do that as we speak. So I think there's going to be a huge opportunity for those advisors willing to take a step forward and take a risk and be a part of the leadership community of advisors who are helping to affect outcomes. You know, that's a little bit of a leap of faith right now as we as an industry come together to figure out exactly how this is all going to work. You know, you mentioned what's going to happen to the rollovers that advisors have become accustomed to generating from plans. And, you know, for some of those advisors who are resting on their laurels or a little bit in cruise control mode, they might see a little bit of a hit to their income. But that's not the way we think. We think there's an opportunity to solve a retirement plan crisis in this country. If you look at the typical retiree or participant at or near retirement, say 55 to 65 years old, the average plan balance is $165, $175. That'll generate about $5,000-$6,000 a year in retirement. That's not anywhere close to sufficient. So with the Secure Act and with the new annuities that we can put inside a plan, we as the advisor can help participants start moving towards that income goal that they're going to need at retirement. This is a huge step forward in solving a retirement plan crisis. So it'll benefit sponsors through that safe harbor language. It'll benefit participants. We've seen the benefit already. We do a very large piece of business with TIAA, so the largest provider of retirement plans, 403B plans to academia and higher ed. And that community is accustomed to annuities, and they have been using annuities inside of that space for over 100 years. And TIA really does it well. And in partnership with them, we have already rolled out annuities to a group of plan participants. And we have a 5-year track record of creating real income streams. And we've seen that work inside of retirement plans. Now we have to port that out to the 401k industry at large and to clients who maybe are not as accustomed with annuities. So my message to advisors who have a little bit of hesitancy around this would be, don't have hesitancy, because we're working with annuity providers right now to make these solutions liquid inside of retirement plans. And when you can take an annuity and make it liquid, you've effectively just turned it into a bond fund. And now that annuity comprises what otherwise would be the fixed income allocation inside of that managed account, which is absolutely terrific. And it's creating great outcomes for our clients inside that TIAA world. And the only other thing I'd say, Leslie, is that the technology is kind of the last missing piece here. The technology to bring all this together and educate consumers on the power of the asset allocations that are driving their incomes, their inflation protected incomes in retirement. So, I hope you can tell I'm excited. I love being on this podcast. I love talking with other advisors. I love seeing what Brian's doing with clients. And in the next 12 to 18 months, I think we're going to see huge changes in our industries, and I'm excited about it.
I'm really excited as well. I think that having the access to secure income solutions within a retirement plan itself, and really just building the utilization of annuities in general, continues to help this space thrive and grow, right? We talk a lot about large numbers and risk pooling, and the more people participating in these types of strategies, the better products are going to become through that risk pooling. So I think we're on the verge of a lot of huge and very important change. And to your point, the technology working itself out is one of the big things that DPL is driving to help change as well. And one of the things that we're really focused on.
That's a great point, and I want to comment on that, Leslie, because what we've observed is that the economies of scale that come with a retirement plan, that risk pooling, have allowed the actuaries to take a look at different features of your typical annuity. And we've seen costs come down. Allianz just announced a new product specifically designed for the retirement industry that has a total fee structure on it of 50 basis points, which is terrific. We've seen TIA and others design specific products for the retirement industry that have liquidity built in, which is a feature that you don't always get outside of the retirement plan. So the benefits of having an annuity inside the retirement plan are huge, and we're really excited to see that unfold. What that does for us as an advisor committed to a fiduciary approach, we've always been committed to a fiduciary approach. It takes an annuity which has typically been sold, and I'm using sold in air quotes here. It changes the way we think about that. It changes what was a product now into a tool. We as the advisor have a new tool in our toolkit, and it's appropriate for some and it's not appropriate for others. But because of the way DPL adds a fiduciary approach to creating and packaging annuities, we can now use that when it's appropriate or not use it when it's not appropriate, and we're indifferent. There's no conflict of interest. There's no difference in our compensation model. It's so much more pure than where we were 10, 15 years ago. So compliments to DPL and what you guys do there.
Thanks for that, Vern. Really appreciate that plug there. So
we can connect after the call, and I'll get my my happy hour.
Air fives, right?
Yeah.
So you guys think really strategically when it comes to building retirement income plans, which is crucial because clients want to know They will get through their later years comfortably. To the top of our conversation, right? That focus on client experience. That's one of the things we're talking about all the time here at DPL is it's not just getting through retirement, but how you experience those years. Are you comfortable? Is it dignified? Or are you worried about running out of money? So there are some instances where you'll have clients with more than enough for retirement, but still have fears of running out of money or whatever that case may be. Brian, can you share with us a little bit about how using an annuity in this situation would make sense?
Well, I'll tell you, Leslie. So I think about this particular situation you've described, and I come across it more often than not. One specific case that immediately comes to mind is someone whom I've known for many years now. She and her husband are in their late 60s, early 70s. Between the two of them, somewhere between $3 and $4 million, and have a modest income need of about $70,000 to $80,000 a year, of which more than half will be covered by Social Security. Now, the challenge with them is they are deathly afraid of running out of money. Paralyzed by the thought of running out of money. Though they couldn't run out of money if they tried, based on just the wealth they have, the spending habits they have, but they're deathly afraid. Now, we're going to use an annuity to provide some guaranteed income so that no matter what, there is some mailbox income, paycheck, whatever you want to call it, coming in on a monthly basis that they're not going to run out of. What implementing this strategy has done is cause them to relax and realize that money is going to be there no matter what. The basics are covered, the essentials are covered. If you want to do something more above and beyond, we use different variable assets in order to cover those discretionary needs. But to what Vern was saying a minute ago, talking about the old model of annuities being sold versus being a fiduciary annuity approach, this particular same couple that I'm talking about, they had an annuity sold to them that over $1 million of their assets were put in a fixed index annuity with an income rider, and they're paying over 1% on a guaranteed income source that number one, they didn't realize they had. Number two, was far greater than anything they needed. But I know I'm pretty sure the advisor who sold that probably made a 6% commission on this really large annuity, which in reality wasn't necessary. So by having a fiduciary approach to annuities, number one, we can accomplish meeting clients' needs and giving them the comfort to know that their income is going to be there no matter what. But number two, using annuities in the right amount and not just doing it to earn an extravagantly large commission, and then taking their excess assets that are not put in annuity and investing them in a more appropriate way for that individual.
Thanks for sharing that, Brian. And I want to pick that apart a little bit further. When we talk about asset allocation and using an annuity alongside an asset allocation, particularly thinking about this couple for a second, how did using the annuity change how you were able to invest the rest of their assets?
In their mind, they're walking a tightrope. But by having that annuity, that tightrope now has a safety net. So that allows us to be slightly more aggressive in their non-annuity assets. And we can have the opportunity to seek growth if necessary, to help them accomplish some of their charitable goals. This particular couple I'm thinking of does not have children, but charity is important, and giving back to their university has been really important. So we've been able to use a slightly more aggressive approach now that they're walking across the tightrope with a safety net.
That's fantastic. I love that analogy. And I love the way that we're able to help reposition assets to achieve some of their other goals in retirement beyond just the retirement security for themselves.
Hey, Leslie, this is Vern. I might just chime in with another example. I had a client who had 6 grandchildren, and he wanted to fund their retirement accounts, and he wanted to put about $75,000 away for each of his grandchildren. And with the help of DPL and some financial planning, we were able to put a plan in place that gave him the confidence that his needs were going to be met. His needs were going to be met in retirement, and his needs were going to be met into long-term care goals. And once we solved for each of those concerns, we were able to put him in a position where he felt comfortable transferring those funds out of his own estate and into his grandchildren's estate. And now he gets to see those funds used rather than in some emergency account that would have just sat there until his passing. So that was really fun to see, and another example of how annuities can free monies up for other concerns that investors get to enjoy now rather than later.
That's great, Vern. Thank you for that. Again, thinking back to client experience and client outcomes and the goals that they have for their assets, using the annuity really does create some greater efficiencies. And I think we've seen that throughout the cases that we've chatted about here this morning. So far, we've talked about a couple of ways you're helping clients and really creating a solid retirement plan by using annuities while also uncovering new opportunities, which is a win-win for you guys. But we also hear a lot from advisors we work with that many clients come in who are simply just not ready for retirement. They either haven't saved enough money or they are kind of forced into it, like your pension client, Brian. How do you help clients who are in these types of situations?
Well, it's interesting as I think about this. Life comes at you pretty fast, and for all of the planning that we do, sometimes it just doesn't pan out that way. So we have to make adjustments on the fly, make changes as life happens. And so, for one client situation that you alluded to, Leslie, thinking about the husband was laid off, and he just turned 60. It doesn't make sense. There's going to be a period of time where there's no necessarily guaranteed income from Social Security. His original plan was to retire at 65, start drawing Social Security, and start drawing his pension. Well, life happened, things changed, and we had to pivot accordingly. So with this particular client, we created a strategy and implemented an income bridge to help him get to Social Security age at 65. And that 65 was the number that he had chose. But we utilized a single premium immediate annuity with a 5-year period certain to bridge the gap. And we're able to use a small amount of his overall assets in order to get him to that goal. But the ability to create laddered strategies or complex income strategies to help clients achieve their goals, maximize their guaranteed income, really proves the value of what us as advisors do, as well as using commission-free annuities. We can take an unbiased approach to choosing the right vehicles to help individuals accomplish their goals.
I remember working on that case with you, and I agree. You've got a lot of different tools in your toolbox with the different annuity options that you have available to you through DPL. And sometimes it makes sense to layer them together to develop a strategy that's really going to propel the client towards what their ultimate goals are for their retirement.
Absolutely, Leslie. I think we went through probably 2, 3, 4, 5 different strategies in order to come up with the perfect one to help them accomplish their needs.
So, Brian, you've been in the fee-only space for quite some time, but when you first came on board and were learning about DPL's commission-free solutions, were there any new products you discovered that could provide new benefits to your clients?
The biggest eye-opening factor in coming to the commission-free annuity world for me was the lack of surrender periods. In this annuity sales environment, individuals aren't buying annuities, they're marrying them. I mean, the surrender schedule on some of the commission products are long, they're lengthy, last longer than most marriages in the United States. And coming into the commission-free space, these are most of the time able to use liquid products that give individuals the ability, the flexibility to accomplish the goals they want, but not be handcuffed to something that may not always suit their needs and have the ability to make changes. At the same point in time, it's good to see a very transparent fee structure. That's something I've noticed. And as I continue to see new products being developed in this space, it's more creative in the commission-free annuity solutions. I just see more creativity happening.
I agree. I think the removal of the surrender charges has really made these significantly more attractive to people who might have some fears about getting tied up into a strategy or a product that might not work further down the road, right? We talk about financial planning as being an ongoing process. It's not a one and done opportunity with your clients. So I'm glad to hear that flexibility is helping support those conversations.
I would say the fact that these products are liquid, the insurance companies issuing annuities want to continue to be competitive. So we continue to see expenses and fees decrease on these products.
So Brian, at DPL, we talk a lot about how we believe in the fiduciary standard and really want to give advisors the tools that they need to be successful with using these strategies in a financial plan. And part of that is really helping advisors understand these products, leave no stone unturned when it comes to finding the right solutions. What advice do you have around funding a solid retirement plan, especially when it comes to implementing annuities?
Annuity products tend to be complicated. So it's worth spending an ample amount of time learning the basics of how these products work, what the difference between a GMWB, a GMIB, a maximum anniversary death benefit, but understand the terms, the language, how they work, and then begin to develop a way to explain them simply to clients. Because it's very easy for a person to sit down with a client and try to explain one of these really complicated products and for them to understand. And then it's more specifically then to repeat it back to somebody that they love and care about. So many times I've competed with advisors who've sold these annuity products wrong, especially when you come up across a client who has maybe a commissioned annuity and they believe that there's an annual step up for an annual income step up that is 4, 5, 6%, whatever, and the client believes it's an account value step up. But understanding the difference between the income value, the account value, and how other advisors may sell them incorrectly is incredibly valuable. One thing I'd always share with clients when proposing an annuity income strategy is the thought about, as you look at your overall wealth, what asset do you have that is as large as your retirement account or as large as your retirement income need that you do not insure? Using these types of products give you the ability to insure that income. And I would joke around with clients is, do you have homeowners insurance? Yes. What's more valuable, your retirement account or your house? And in sometimes it's that the house is more valuable. At the other times it's the retirement account. But when you can relate utilizing annuity products that provide guaranteed income in equivalent to insuring their house, and the insurance costs are right on track with what homeowners insurance. They're in the ballpark as far as rider fees and what have you.
What about you, Vern? Any advice to share or things to add to Brian's thoughts?
Well, I think Brian used the word complex there, and I can I can advise my former self, because I hesitated for a long time, because the world of annuities, it is complex by design, and it's necessary. And as you mentioned at the top of the call, Leslie, I'm a CFA, and I cut my teeth building portfolios of stocks and bonds for a large mutual fund company. And when I got into this world, I was a little intimidated by annuities, because it is a steep learning curve, as Brian mentioned. But I would advise other advisors not to be intimidated by that, because there are resources out there to help you. Annuities make a real and meaningful difference for some clients, and they need to be a part of your toolkit. And that's what I think of when I think of DPL. I think of an advisor-friendly solution that's bringing annuities underneath a fiduciary purview, so that advisors like us and members of our Goal Path community can do the financial planning that needs to be done for their clients.
Yeah, I've got kind of one more closing thought, Leslie, I'll share. And I'm seeing it more and more so with the Alliance for Lifetime Income. Thoughts and hearts and minds are changing on the world of annuities, and it's happening rather rapidly. So advisors who are not utilizing these types of products to help create income solutions for their clients, they're probably missing the boat. This is a time to be focused on helping your clients create income, and be open to using new products you may not have ever used in the past.
I would agree, Brian. I think that we're seeing some cultural shifts, some perception shifts. That's one of our driving forces. One of our whys here at DPL is to help change that conversation. And the more guaranteed income solutions that advisors are putting in front of clients, I think the more opportunity they have to serve them and to continue to win and build their business. And with that, I thank you guys both for being part of our podcast today. Thanks so much, guys.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. To hear more, go to dplfp.com and subscribe on Apple, Google, and Spotify for updates.